Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another geopolitical episode on Tone-Based Livestream. Fresh off a nice new haircut versus this morning. Hold on, I gotta mute my other YouTube channel. And hope everyone's having a good day. See my buy the dip cup. Off to Panama tomorrow. Just spending a couple of days with family. And yeah, this is going to be a geopolitical stream. Before I jump right into it, otherwise I'm going to forget. I want to open a pack of these cards. Like these cards are only at this office, and I don't come here very often, just a few times a year. And then I keep forgetting. So I'm going to open a pack as people tune in. We wait for 100 live viewers. So let's see if I pull that rare 1 of 21 poker card. That's the rarest card of them all, the poker card. Let's see if we get lucky on this deck. That's the one card I'm looking for to finish this deck. All right, and we're gonna go straight to it. We're not gonna waste any time. That's a cool card. We do this so I can see it myself. Svetsky, I gotta hit him up, see how he's doing. That is Richard Nixon taking us off the gold standard as a currency card. We have a freedom card. And Natalie Brunell. Natalie Brunell is a good card. I believe it's 1 out of 100. No, it's 1 out of 500, not 1 out of 100. It's the Adam Baxter 250. I am 1 out of 100. And there is Mark Moss. Okay. I gotta go close the door here. It's gonna get too loud with gardeners. So I will open up the price of Bitcoin. Oh, wait. I had the wrong screen share on. Hold on. Screen 1. And 1 hour chart of Bitcoin. And I'm going to go close the door so that it doesn't bother me. I know you guys can't hear it. All right, and we are back. And we are back. Okay, I'm going to walk away one more time because I actually have to pay the gardener. And I'm not sure how much. Let me find out. Okay. Bitcoin pulled back, as I said this morning. By the way, those that are interested in financial markets and price analysis, make sure you are following the Financial Summits YouTube channel. That's where I do all my market analysis, and this channel has now become fully geopolitical. As I requested on Twitter, the topic for today is going to be Gaza and Israel and Iran. This is becoming Iran versus Israel instead of Israel versus Gaza, or at least it is going to head in that direction. We're going to talk about why. Zezo, welcome back. Okay, so we have over 100 viewers. Let's just follow up real quick. My last show, I did the whole Russia-Ukraine. I decided to spend some time and go over this document. This document is just going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. I should probably bring that up so people know that, you know, it exists. There you go. And I filled out section 3. I mean, section 3 could be a book. Section 3 is literally about the denazification of Ukraine and the Nazi element in Ukraine. I'm going to do a show on just topic 3. This is reason number 3 for Russia invading Ukraine. I think this is a very small percentage of the reason why they invaded, but this part was blank and I have filled it out. Everything here is a link. I have gone through almost all of them. I mean, some of these are like hour-long videos that I watched the entire video. No, but I saw enough to know that it's a good reference. I would say of all the links that I posted, I have read or watched 90% of everything I've linked. It's almost impossible. I mean, like, good luck watching 100%. I don't expect people to watch 100% of everything. I watch it on 2x in the background, but I'm linking everything for a reason. So there you go. A lot of it is actually has already been deleted. Like, here's an example. I had this linked before, and you go here, and what do you get? You get absolutely nothing. A lot of this stuff has already been removed from the internet. I have to find archive links. I have recently found out that the Wayback Machine is fraudulent, so I do need to find another source. The Wayback Machine has been, people have been able to prove that the Wayback Machine has faked history just like Wikipedia does. So unfortunately, I haven't really found another source. The whole point of Wayback of the web archive is to not alter anything historically, and apparently people have complained that just like Wikipedia, the Wayback Machine deletes certain things and it even alters certain things. So I don't trust it, but I was able to find many links that have been deleted from the internet, and a lot of times I preemptively even posted the other link. Sometimes I try to do the YouTube videos, but sometimes I have to use the Rumble videos. So much of this is being deleted off the internet. I had to upload a couple of things to my own website, and I haven't put them up yet. One of those examples is a document like this. This is where 40 congressmen and senators, I forget if they're congressmen or senators or both, wrote a letter in 2019 declaring Ukraine's Azov battalion as a terrorist Nazi organization. And yet, here we are, fully supporting the Azov battalion in Ukraine. And this is almost impossible to find on the internet now. I uploaded it to my own server, so hopefully I retain some history. And one last thing, yeah, so this document is in the video description, of course, and I need to find time to fill out part 4 and part 5 and part 6, and then there's additional reasons. So whenever they tell you that this war was unprovoked, they are lying to you. It was absolutely provoked. And finally, just if you want to keep up on the progress of what's going on, the city you need to keep an eye on is Pokrovsk. The moment Russia takes Pokrovsk, it is a huge problem for Ukraine. Remember when Russia spent 1 year taking Avdiivka? Took them a year to get the city. But now, 6 months later, look how much further they are. And the moment they take Pokrovsk, there's almost nothing stopping them to get to right here. Nope, right there, Pavlodar. They will quickly go to Pavlodar, and right after Pavlodar, Dnieper falls. The big city of Dnieper falls, and the entire Ukrainian front line completely collapses. And if you want to keep an eye on the progress, you can see it right here. Oh, 1 second. Shoot. I gotta go pay the gardener. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, no more interruptions. So you can see right here, this is on the 1st of August and where they were. And you can see how they weren't even barely bombing Pokrovsk at that time. You can look at it on the 2nd. Now they're starting to bomb it. And now you can also look at the progress. Here's the progress today on the 20th. So you can see how far Russia has advanced in the last 20 days. This whole area is in white, and now this whole area is in red. That's in 20 days. And I would say within by this time next month, they're going to be right on the edge of Pokrovsk. And the moment Pokrovsk falls, they literally take out this entire road. This road is what's supplying. There's a couple of roads. It's one of the two roads that's supplying the troops over here. And this road's going to get cut off. And that's it. Ukraine's in serious trouble. Serious, serious trouble. Okay, now let's go and discuss the Israel-Iran-Gaza situation. I've spoken about this topic once or twice before. I don't talk about this topic very much. And let me see if there's any good questions. Do you think the US and allies will be notified before Iran does what it does, like last time? No, I do not. So there's been a couple of developments. So the big development took place almost, well, 3 weeks ago now, where I'm trying to kind of put them together into a single word, but I can't. Two known people were basically assassinated, one in Beirut, Lebanon, in the capital of Lebanon, and one in Tehran, Iran, the capital of Iran. And, well, the person that was assassinated in Beirut, Lebanon, is a Hezbollah top military commander. Now, Hezbollah, for those that may not know, Hezbollah is basically the defensive military force of Lebanon. Now, the Zionists will, of course, call it an offensive military force, but this military was directly created after, well, the war between Israel and Lebanon, and then I think in 2006, when Israel decided to invade Lebanon again, they got their hands full with Hezbollah. Now, Hezbollah in the last 20 years has gotten only stronger. And Hezbollah is a formidable force. And keep in mind that Iran directly backs Hezbollah with military weapons. Okay? Military weapons and other assistance. So Hezbollah is fully backed by Iran. That's important. For those that may not be familiar with the situation and what's going on. Now, the person that was, well, assassinated in Iran was negotiating the peace deal between Hamas in Gaza and Israel. So you guys know my opinion. I am of the belief that, I am of factual evidence that Israel is straight up committing genocide in Gaza. I don't see how this is debatable at this point in time. I believe Netanyahu is one of the biggest criminals we have in the world, and his biggest, I guess, contribution to the world, in my view, is uniting the Shia and the Sunni factions of the Muslim faith. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, okay? But Netanyahu has single-handedly united the Arab world, and I think it's going to lead to the complete elimination of Israel. That part is my opinion. The genocide in Gaza is not an opinion; that's a fact. But in my opinion, the the Muslim world will eventually either eliminate Israel from the map or uh, allow Israel to exist, but in a completely different way, where they demilitarize Israel, basically. And then the Zionists and other Jews can choose to live in Israel or not, but they will not be a military state. I mean, they will be. I mean, they'll have like some police forces and some border military, but they're not going to be a military force. I mean, Israel may be forced to surrender their nuclear weapons, but I don't think they're going to surrender their nuclear weapons. I think they're going to fire one off, and that is why the most likely end to Israel is the complete just annihilation of this land. Like, unfortunately, but I think that's where we are headed. I don't see tensions coming down. I only see tensions going up. So real quick, I got this graphic from the internet. I'm not sure why it's saying that Israel did not take responsibility for this attack. I have seen Israel take responsibility for this attack, where Mossad had claimed that they placed a bomb in that hotel room like 2 months prior. Anyone that believes this is a complete gullible idiot. There's no way they could have placed a bomb 2 months earlier, knowing exactly that this guy was going to stay in this, not only in that building, but also on that particular floor, in that particular room. There's no way. And actually, like, everyone thinks Mossad is so powerful, and Mossad is like the CIA of Israel. I just don't see how they would be able to enter and place a bomb in a government building in the middle of Iran and have it sit there unnoticed for 2 months. I mean, that's just the most. This is, I mean, this story is even crazier than three Ukrainians on a fishing boat dived and blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. I mean, it's that far-fetched, probably even more so. This was an external missile that, from my understanding, honed in on his cell phone, and they could have easily had information on his cell phone because remember, he's negotiating peace between Gaza and Israel. Now, Israel is not interested in peace at all. We discussed this last time as well. The last thing that I'm going to zoom in on this graphic. The last thing in this world that Israel wants is peace between Israel and the Gaza Strip. We discussed how Israel really wants this little piece of real estate within their country. It is prime real estate. It's nice oceanfront property. They don't want any Arab Muslims on this land. I think it was Ben-Gvir, the defense minister. I believe that was him that said, "I would love to starve the 2 million Palestinians, but the world seems to be having a problem with that." He doesn't have a problem with that. The Zionists don't have a problem with that. Most Israelis don't have a problem with that. I believe 40% of Israelis are interested in starving every Palestinian. That was the latest poll out of Israel. So no one, well, I shouldn't say no one. Well, 47% don't have a problem with that. The other 53% probably have a problem with 2 million starving. They probably don't have a problem with 1 million starving. That's just my guess. So, in any case, the last thing Israel wants is any kind of a peace deal. The fact that there are still hostages works to their favor. It allows them to continue to commit the genocide. The fact that there just happens to be no negotiators. They omit the fact that they're killing the negotiators. from the other side. And there's no negotiators. Who are we going to negotiate peace with? Not to mention Netanyahu personally doesn't want peace in the Middle East, because that could mean that he's going to get overthrown and get put in prison. Smotrich, the finance minister. Sorry, I get Smotrich and Ben Gvir confused. Smotrich is the finance minister. Ben Gvir is like the defense minister. They're both equally crazy. You can you can just flip whatever one is saying, because the only reason why one of them says it is because he just happens to beat the other one to the statement. Thanks for the correction. Now, Israel would, well, once they do it to the Gaza Strip, they will then replicate it in the West Bank. Now, the West Bank is a little bit tougher. The West Bank borders Jordan. Let me try to keep these videos a little bit short. So on this map, you can see that Iran clearly supports Yemen, and Iran also supports Lebanon. This is Iran's direct sphere of influence. Iran's direct sphere of influence is Lebanon and Yemen. Okay, this is why the United States has no control over Yemen and has no control over Lebanon. This becomes very, very important. Now, where does the United States have control? The United States have control of Jordan, and the United States has control of Egypt, and the United States still has some, but not as much, influence over Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia is a very important player here. This is eventually it's gonna lead to the focus on Saudi Arabia, the whole point for my stream. Now, what about Syria and Iraq? Syria and Iraq are basket cases because they've been destroyed by the United States military. The United States military destroyed Iraq 20 years ago, and it's still picking itself up off the rubble. Okay, it is a completely dysfunctional state, and Syria was about to be turned into Iraq if Russia did not intervene. So Russia basically prevented Syria from becoming the next Iraq, but Syria is stuck between their own remnants of control, Russia that is supporting them, Turkey that occupies certain territories, US that occupies certain territories, and more recently, Israel. Wait, let me zoom in over here. Israel has taken over the Golan Heights, which has almost no Jews there. It is all Muslims. And then when Israel misfires a rocket, kills a bunch of Syrian Muslims, and then claims that Hezbollah killed a bunch of Jews, giving Israel, legal standing to now go and attack Lebanon. This is the most insane thing I have ever heard. But this is exactly what's happening. This happened when a bunch of kids got killed by a missile that Israel claims that the missile came from Hezbollah and killed, Israelis, when in reality it was an Israeli missile. I'm not going to say it was on purpose. It was probably by accident. Killed Syrian Muslims, and suddenly Israel is using this as an excuse to go and fight Hezbollah. Israel is not able to fight Hezbollah. Their military is not able to fight Hezbollah. Their military is telling Netanyahu that they are exhausted trying to take this little piece of land, and somehow Netanyahu is calling his military a bunch of weaklings, that why they can't take on Hezbollah. And Hezbollah probably has a stronger military than the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. Now, let's get back to the incident in Tehran. So the incident in Tehran was very embarrassing for the new president of Iran. As you know, the last president of Iran died in a helicopter crash right here. This is uh, Azerbaijan. And it was right here, I believe it was still on Iranian soil as the helicopter was leaving Azerbaijan. Now, Azerbaijan and Iran have a very complicated relationship. So does Armenia. They also have a very, Armenia's over here, also has a very complicated relationship. And Georgia is over here, the Republic of Georgia. They don't have a relationship with Iran because they are not bordering nations. Georgia is also not a Muslim country, while Azerbaijan is. Now, Azerbaijan is more like a Turkey. They're trying to be kind of neutral. They're on good terms with Israel. They're also on good-ish terms with Russia. And they're on good-ish terms with Iran. And they're on bad terms with Armenia, which used to be on good terms with Russia and now is on bad terms with Russia. And the Armenian-Iranian relationship, sorry, Armenia's here. Armenian-Iranian relationship is also a bit complicated. I'm not going to get into it in this stream. Now, the assassination during the day of the presidential inauguration in the capital, literally of a guest of Iran, negotiating peace, is very, very bad. Now, Iran immediately said there will be retaliation, and the United States went into overdrive. The last thing the United States wants is a war with Iran. It's also the last thing Iran wants. Iran does not want a war with the United States, and half of the United States does not want a war with Iran. The people of the United States certainly don't want a war with Iran. Only the neocons, the biggest of neocons, and the current Democratic administration that that will do anything to prevent Donald Trump from getting elected, they're the only ones that want a war with Iran. Whew. I'm going to keep going. What I was going to highlight something. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I need to put a very important poll up. Now that we have 200 people watching, I really want to know the answer to this poll. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have an answer for you. This is why I want to start a poll. So, the question is, who is the proxy state? Does USA control Israel? It's hard to phrase the question. Okay. Okay. Does USA control is the wrong word. Does USA control slash oh man, it's so hard to phrase the question so that it's properly understood. All right. Is Israel a US proxy to control Middle East, or has USA become controlled by Israel slash Zionists? I'm really curious what people will say, right? So, see, you can't say that US is an Israel proxy. You can say that Israel is a US proxy the way Ukraine is a US proxy, the way Taiwan is a US proxy, okay? The way Saudi Arabia used to be a US proxy, not anymore. Um, so this is the big question. So USA. So first choice, Israel is a U.S. proxy and will be sacrificed for U.S. Middle East agenda. Oh, I can only have 35 characters. Crap. Israel is a U.S. proxy like Ukraine. I'm going to put UA or TW for Taiwan. Uh, is Israel a U.S. proxy to control Middle East like Ukraine? Question too long. Jesus Christ. Okay. Israel slash Zionists control USA policy. And then I know some people are going to want to see the answer and are not going to want to vote. Can't decide slash see results. I'm going to start the poll and I don't know how to answer the question. It's really, really hard. It's a really, really hard question. And I'm going to vote that Israel is a U.S. proxy, but the real answer is I can't decide, see results. But I have to choose one or the other. Oh, why can't I choose? Did it vote for me already? We have 25 people voting. And so far, most people are voting that Israel Zionists control the USA. Interesting. Let's keep the poll going, guys. I need at least 100 votes. We need at least 100 votes here. I don't think Israel having universal health care answers the question at all. All right. Wow, a lot of people are voting for Zionist-controlled USA policy. Interesting. Okay, so let's get back to the discussion at hand. Iran has promised a retaliation against Israel. Now, the last time Iran retaliated against Israel, it was because Israel bombed an Iranian embassy inside Syria and killed, prominent Persians in that building. So Iran retaliated by first telling America what they're going to do. Then they sent a bunch of drones. Like you could have probably walked from Iran to Israel faster than those drones were flying. And then as the drones were coming in, they sent some ballistic missiles and some cruise missiles. And they actually damaged several Israeli military bases that Israel kind of blew off as no big deal. Now, during this incident, the US and British and the French had to help defend against all of these bombs and drones that were flying there. It cost the West billions of dollars to do this, and this happened in 24 hours. And Hezbollah were able to see what kind of defenses Israel has. And the whole thing was died down. Now, the question earlier was, is Iran going to tell the US what kind of attack they're going to do on Israel this time? And the answer is, I don't believe that they will. The question is, why haven't they attacked Israel yet? Well, first of all, Iran is not ready for a full-blown war with the West, with the United States. So there's a couple of things that they need before that happens. One of those things is they need better weapons. And Russia is now providing those better weapons to Iran. So Russia has sent a very sophisticated system that would be able to, I guess, technologically neutralize some of Israel's advantage. So some of the weapons that they sent them would able to, like, for example, electronic warfare that's going to give Israel problems with their Iron Dome. That's a very sophisticated weaponry that Iran is now implementing into their military. And if enough time is given, the Russians will train the Iranians on how to use these weapons. Otherwise, the Russians will operate them themselves. Another reason is because Iran is probably, and I have no evidence of this, it wants to make sure that Israel does not have a nuclear deterrent. So it is very, very possible that while before I never believed Iran had nuclear capabilities, I believe that right now it is very possible, if not very likely, that Iran is working on a nuclear deterrent. And if Iran's nuclear deterrent is only a few months away, it is worth it for Iran to, they did get embarrassed, and they do need to, prove to the Muslim world that they are ready to stand up to the bully, which is Israel. But if their nuclear deterrent is only a few months away, it's worth it for the minor, embarrassment that they will face while having a proper deterrent before they send any missiles towards Israel. Okay. Also, there are plenty of Muslim historical sites in Israel. So I don't think Iran wants to nuke Israel, even if they have a nuke. They would like to avoid that because, again, no one in the Middle East and the Muslim world wants to destroy ancient Muslim sites. Just like Israel doesn't really want ancient Jewish sites to be destroyed, but honestly, I don't think the Zionists give a fuck about the Jewish religion. I really don't think they do. I don't. I think they're just using it as a way to try to dominate the world. But having said that, I still don't believe that the United States is a puppet of Israel. I still think Israel is a product of the United States, which took it over from the British. And there is another very critical reason that no one is discussing as to why I believe Iran is not attacking Israel. Now, this is my own personal view. I did not get this from any, geopolitical podcast. In my opinion, the reason why Iran is not attacking Israel in any kind of meaningful way, right? Maybe they'll telegraph another attack, but I don't think they're going to do that, is because they need a guarantee and certainty that if Iran goes to war with Israel, Saudi Arabia is on the side of Iran and not on the side of Israel. Now, Saudi Arabia does not want to be on the side of Israel. Saudi Arabia has been a proxy of the United States, but with MBS in charge, that is no longer the case. Saudi Arabia is trying to play diplomacy to completely get under the thumb of the United States. And you see this, they're like doing it slowly and piecewise, okay? Not peace as in peace, peace as in pieces, okay? So the latest jab at the US was not reinstalling the agreement that they have to sell oil for US dollars. Saudi Arabia has joined BRICS. Saudi Arabia has got into a deal, a peace deal, and an economic deal with Iran. So Saudi Arabia is trying to, get on good terms with Iran. And this is why I said earlier, what Netanyahu did, Netanyahu's biggest contribution to the world, and hopefully to the future peace of the world, is, good relations between Sunnis and the Shia. Now, Saudi Arabia are Sunni, Iran is Shia, okay? And the Gaza Strip and the Palestinians, they're mostly Sunni, and Hezbollah is Shia. That's why they're joined together, okay? And of course, Iran is supporting Yemen, and a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago, I don't remember when there was massive war going on in Yemen, Yemen was stuck in between Saudi and Iran. That has now concluded. Now, where does the United Arab Emirates stand on this? They stand nowhere on this. They don't want any conflict. So the United Arab Emirates are generally on the side of Saudi. So whichever way Saudi go, UAE is likely going to follow. Now, the most important thing for the UAE is no war in the region, because unlike any other region here, the UAE only exists as a powerful entity because of expats that have moved to the UAE. And if a war breaks out in this region, they're all going to leave. And UAE is going to have a huge crisis on its hands because they don't make as much money from oil as they once did. The strength of the UAE is peace in the region and low taxes and certain freedoms. I mean, you can't, walk around with a gay pride flag, but you have certain financial freedoms, and you have one of the safest countries in the world. And the last thing the UAE wants is any kind of tension and war in this region. Saudi doesn't want that either. Saudi is building up. But at the moment, Saudi is not ready to completely turn their back on the United States. They're still reliant on the United States for weapons, but if they're not fighting Iran and Shiite, what do they really need all those weapons for, right? So it's possible that now that the Saudi have joined the BRICS, and they can get security guarantees from Russia and China, they're not going to need such a strong military, because the reason why they had the strong military is because of the Shia-Sunni divide that the US basically helped nudge on for a long, long time. But so I think Saudi is on the verge of flipping from being under American influence to being completely part of the BRICS, which Iran is also a part of. And I believe that the reason why Iran has not attacked Israel is that they want a guarantee from Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is currently the go-to for Sunni Muslim views. So everyone in the Sunni world kind of follows Saudi Arabia. And the Shia world kind of follows Iran. I mean, these are subjective terms, okay? And I don't claim to be an expert on this region by any means. But here's what's been happening in the last decade. In the last decade, where, yes, Iran were the leaders of the Shia world, and Saudi were the leaders of the Sunni world, even though Turkey, would love to be the overall leader of the entire Muslim faith. Saudi were, because there's way more Sunni Muslims around the world than there are Shia. But what's been happening in the last decade, and even more so in the last half decade, is that Iran has not only completely dominated the Shia Muslim world, Iran is now competing with Saudi Arabia as the overall leader of the Muslim faith and the Muslim world. This is a very controversial take. And one of the reasons why Saudi is very likely to completely drop American sphere of influence, but they have to do it slowly. They're waiting for America to get weaker and weaker and weaker. Is that if Saudi backs the wrong horse, if Saudi backs Israel like they have in the past for financial gain from the United States, Saudi may lose their top stature as a leader, not only in the Muslim world, but even within the Sunni world, which they have dominated for a long, long time. Okay? And I think this is the main reason why Iran has not yet attacked, is that Russia is now there, China is now there, and I think there are secret meetings happening constantly between Iran and Saudi, making sure that Saudi stays atop the Muslim world while at the same time being on the same page as Iran. This, to me, is the biggest reason as to why Iran has not attacked. Okay? Now, let's talk about the other countries. As I said before, Iraq and Syria are basket cases. They've been too destroyed by the United States and United States' proxies to form any kind of assistance to Iran in their attack against Israel. What I will say is, because these two countries should be here. Because these two countries are in such disarray, it makes it very easy for Iran to supply weapons into Hezbollah and Lebanon. They're able to do it through Iraq and through Syria because of how dysfunctional these countries are. And Syria is the more tricky one to do it through, but I'm sure they have their ways. Now, what about Jordan and Egypt? I believe that Egypt is the main force that supplied weapons to the Gaza Strip. I believe this was through Egypt. Now, how did Egypt, is it possible? Is it possible that Iran supplied the weapons into the Gaza Strip or supports the Palestinians in Gaza I mean, they're supporting them morally, right? They're not morally. They're supporting them emotionally. They're supporting them in the media. They may be supporting them financially, but I don't see how Iran can smuggle weapons into the Gaza Strip. The only way that can happen is through Egypt or somehow through the Mediterranean from Turkey or from Syria, but that would also be very difficult. So I believe it's through Egypt. Now, the problem that Egypt and Jordan has is the same problem that Saudi Arabia has. Okay, uh, Egypt and Jordan get a lot of support from the United States, mostly in the form of bribes to the government. And the people of Egypt and Jordan do not want to support Israel, but the United States pays these governments to support Israel. And if Saudi Arabia and Iran join forces, Jordan and Egypt will not have the ability to go against Saudi and Iran. But if Saudi does not join Iran in Iran's attack on Israel, then Jordan and Egypt can now not support Iran either. This is the tricky part. The other problems in Egypt and Jordan is that the populations of these countries are on the verge of a straight up revolution and overthrow of their corrupt governments that have been controlled by the United States. Now, once again, Egypt, just like Saudi Arabia, has joined BRICS, which now gives it Russian influence. As you know, Russia and Iran actually have a defense treaty. And we're going to get into what happens if Israel, say, fires a nuke on Iran. What does Russia do? We're going to talk about that after. These topics are very, very complicated, guys. So Egypt is now part of BRICS. Super, super strategic. This means that the Suez Canal might be under Russian influence very, very soon. So Egypt, once again, benefits from American money. This American money comes in the form of aid and in the form of military weapons. But now Russia would be able to provide Egypt with military weapons. And also, if the entire Muslim world in the Middle East is united against Israel, they're not going to need a lot of weapons because Iran can wipe out Israel off the face of the earth by themselves without the help of any other Muslim nation in the Middle East. But they need at least moral support from these other nations. The last thing Iran wants is to attack Israel and have the entire Muslim world anti-Iran, because remember, Al Jazeera is out of Qatar, is a very powerful media organization. So if Saudi Arabia is on the side of Iran, now they have a serious global news outlet on their side, being Al Jazeera, plus plus Russian media, plus Chinese media. And the US media is becoming completely irrelevant. Okay, now that Twitter is a little bit more of a free speech platform, and companies like Rumble are stepping up and becoming more and more viewed. Therefore, how am I doing on time? Shit, I've already been going an hour. Therefore, Iran just needs verbal support from the rest of the Muslim world, the functioning Muslim world, which is Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and maybe Jordan, but Jordan and Egypt will follow what Saudi, Qatar, and UAE does. Kuwait is somewhat irrelevant here. So is Oman. They're not major factors, but they will also do what Saudi does. Now, the population in Jordan and Egypt is a powder cake, okay? The king of Jordan is probably on the verge of being overthrown in a real grassroots protest against the king of Jordan, who continues to support Israel against his Muslim population wishes of supporting the Palestinians. Egypt, to a lesser extent, has a similar problem, but I've been to Egypt. It is so dysfunctional. I don't even think Egyptians care that much about what happens to the rest of the people. The Egyptians every single Egyptian is too busy ripping off tourists that are coming to visit the Pyramid of Giza. That's been my experience in Egypt, okay? And this is the big issue, okay? Zazo, I saw you posting questions. Let me glance at some questions before I get into the Russian-Iranian relationship and what happens if Israel decides to escalate after Iran's retaliation. Do you think the US and allies will be... Okay, I already answered that. Do you think Iran has nukes? That's a great question. At the moment, I do not believe that they do, but I think that they're close. And I do believe that they are probably working on it. Well, to follow up with your question says, do you think Iran has nukes? Period. I feel they act that confidently because they know they have nukes. No, I feel that if they had nukes, they would have already retaliated against Israel. I think, as I said earlier, because I think they are close on getting nukes, they want to make sure they have nukes before they start firing missiles at Israel. And I also think their biggest factor is giving Saudi Arabia a little more time to get their shit together and completely get under US's thumb of control. Another question, Tone, the big question is this. Oh, yeah, it's the same question. Okay. I already addressed it. Now, what does Russia do if Iran if Iran retaliates and Israel escalates? Where does Russia stand? This goes back to what I said about a year ago. About a year ago, in the summer, in August of 2023, I was absolutely dumbfounded when Israel decided to choose sides in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Prior to August 2023, so for over a year, Israel was neutral on the Ukraine conflict. And then suddenly, Israel starts sending weapons to Ukraine. Not to mention supporting Ukraine with intelligence, Mossad's intelligence into Ukraine. There's a lot of Russians that live in Israel, mostly Russian Jews. A lot of them live in Israel. So until Putin sends a warning to all Russian Jews in Israel, advising them to come back to Russia, which he has not done yet, but I think he will soon. He's going to advise the Russian Jews to come back to Russia. He'll be hesitant because he's not going to know how many of them are Mossad agents, but if you have a Russian passport, obviously you can always go back to Russia. I believe he got very angry at Israel in the summer of 2023. And I know a lot of people said that when Russia was blamed for Hamas's October 7 attack, some people blamed it on Putin, which is kind of crazy. But I was one of the few people that said, well, Putin is not to blame. However, I have a feeling that the decision to attack Israel was ran by Putin in one form or another. And because of Putin's anger at Israel for supporting Ukraine 3 months earlier, he might have said, I don't give a shit what you guys do. Where had Ukraine stayed neutral or taken Russian side, in the Russia-Ukraine war, which they would never do because, they may be a U.S. proxy. Putin would have made sure the Arab world stand down. He does have that kind of influence over the Arab world in the Middle East. They're depending on him a lot. He's basically single-handedly saved Syria, and he is directly helping Iran. Not to mention, he's probably responsible for these countries entering the BRICS, including Egypt. So Putin now has a lot of influence in the Middle East. Not Putin himself, but the Russian regime has a lot of influence in the Middle East. So Putin could have potentially prevented October 7th. I'm not saying he caused it. I'm saying he could have prevented it. Could have. Not saying he would have. And I'm not saying it's definite, but I think there was a chance he could have prevented October 7th had Israel not turned their, decided to go against Russia and directly support Ukraine in that conflict. So what happens if Israel decides to nuke Tehran? Putin is going to step in. I believe Putin will step in. And I don't know how. I don't think Putin is going to bomb Israel because, first of all, there's a lot of Russians in Israel. Putin's going to make it very clear for the Russians in Israel to leave. The Russians in Israel are probably some of the more entrepreneurial people in Israel. Israel is dying economically. If Russians leave Israel, Israel is in a lot of trouble. Putin could also provide Iran with nuclear capabilities. If Israel did something stupid, he will give Iran the complete go-ahead to take out Israel. And by the way, Pakistan and America gave nukes to Pakistan. Pakistan has said that they will provide the nuclear weapons if Israel is to use nukes in the Middle East against Iran. Pakistan will provide it to Iran. But Russia might do the same, okay? Russia may screw Israel in another way. Russia may supply Hezbollah with serious weapons. Russia will directly support Israel's enemies in order to, well, not in order to, but if Israel significantly escalates Iran's retaliation, and I do believe Iran's retaliation is coming. All right, any other comments? Because I think this show has gone long enough. Yes, I have read Albert Pike's World War III prediction. I don't know who Albert Pike is. Sorry. All right. Any final comments? So it wasn't even close on my poll. No one believes Israel is a U.S. proxy. Wow. I do think Israel is a U.S. proxy, personally. I'm going against the convention here. Someone is asking a question, how does Israel have nukes? Oh, boy. So Israel stole nuclear technology from a nuclear facility in Pennsylvania. There was a nuclear facility in Pennsylvania that was, this was back in the 50s and 60s. There was a nuclear facility in Pennsylvania, and that basically was working on and had nuclear capabilities. And there were too many employees in that facility that were basically Israeli undercover spies. And they smuggled all the research and all the material to Israel. And when the US eventually found out about this, first of all, it was too late. Israel already had it, and this is complete espionage. The people responsible, even like the head of that facility, should have been, potentially executed for treason, but instead he was promoted. So basically, Israel stole the technology from the U.S., but the U.S. was more than happy to allow Israel to steal it. Like certain parts of the U.S. administration were more than happy to allow Israel to steal the technology. You can look this up. I don't know where to source this. If anyone thinks I am completely wrong on this, please comment in the live chat. I wish I can. I don't remember where I learned this, but uh, this is the most plausible explanation for how Israel got nuclear technology. They didn't develop it, and U.S. didn't hand it to them. They basically stole it, and the U.S. didn't do anything about it. Well, the UAE basically uh, economically dissolves. Correct. Officially, Israel doesn't have nukes because if officially Israel had nukes, then the United States would be forced by law to stop giving aid and any kind of military or financial assistance to Israel. But we know that's never going to happen. That's not going to happen because I believe Israel is a proxy of the United States, not the other way around. Uh, I believe that the United States will use Israel the way they use Ukraine to attack Russia and the way they are using Taiwan to attack China. And U.S. doesn't care if Ukraine is destroyed, and U.S. doesn't care if Taiwan is destroyed, and U.S. probably doesn't care if Israel is destroyed, as long as in the middle of Israel's destruction, it takes the entire Middle East with them. Do you expect an attack from Iran in the next 30 days? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an opinion. 30 days, probably 30 days. Within 60 days, I do expect some kind of retaliation from Iran. The previous attack was a joke, but the attack served Iran's purpose. Iran was able not to start a war with Israel and USA because they weren't ready. They're still not ready, but Iran is probably going to be ready for an Israel-US war at the end of the year. They weren't ready, 6 months ago. They're going to be more ready at the end of this year. Iran was able to destroy certain critical facilities in Israel, even though that was downplayed. Iran was able to see what kind of defenses Israel had. So it served its purpose. And the stupidity of Israeli Zionists to kill a Hamas negotiator in Tehran is even dumber than the Ukrainian decision to go into Russia and take territory earlier this month. They may or may not do it on a Jewish holiday. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's relevant whether it's done on a Jewish holiday or not. Uh, I I highly doubt the Israeli military follows the Jewish holidays that much. I mean, they have to defend the country, right? I mean, what's more important, your faith or defending your country, right? I mean, you're of Jewish faith. You're not allowed to touch anything mechanical on a Saturday. But if someone is about to walk into your house and start shooting, what are you going to do? You're going to let them kill you? Or are you going to say, you know what, there's an exception here. I'm going to pick up a gun and I'm going to fire back. So Now, I don't think the Jewish holiday thing matters at all. I think other than uh, the nuclear deterrent that Israel has and Iran doesn't have yet, I think if you remove the nuclear option, like if Israel, for a fact, did not have any nuclear weapons, I believe that Iran has better military technology than Israel. At least, maybe not better in technological, but the quantity makes up for it. Okay, so here's what I mean by quantity. If you have, uh, let's say, um, if a current US military soldier, right, or a current US platoon, a platoon is like 20 men. If a current US platoon went back 2,000 years and fought against, a Roman army, yes, they have better weapons and they can do massive damage to the Roman army. But a 2 or a 3,000 man strong Roman army will defeat, a platoon of 20 US Marines. Okay? There's no way they're taking out thousands of people with a group of 20. Okay? The movie 300 is fantasy, not reality. Okay? Uh, so this is what I mean. Israel might have slightly better weapons, but they don't make up for the quantity of pretty damn good weapons Iran has. And give Iran another year and incorporating Russian and Chinese military, and I think they're going to be better than the Israel military if they're not already better. All right. I think this video has lasted long enough. What's happening in the UAE? Well, no, I already talked about the UAE. The foreign entrepreneurs will move out and they'll go to other jurisdictions, and the UAE is going to be in massive economic trouble. If everyone leaves Dubai, I mean, what are they going to do? Remember, 90% of the people that live in the UAE are non-Emiratis, like 20, 30% wealthy non-Emiratis, and the other 60% of the country is the support staff. It's literally the Bangladeshi and the Pakistani and the Indian, used to be way more African, but when crime started to tick up in the UAE, they stopped allowing a lot of African nations sending them labor. So 60% of the UAE is non. I mean, some of them are Arab, but most of them are non-Arab labor, from Pakistan, from the Philippines, from India, from Bangladesh, from uh, you know, it's mostly those countries. Uh, that's the majority of the population in the UAE. It's those populations, and they work, labor jobs to support the economy that is created by oil revenue for the Emiratis and all other businesses for the Westerners, mostly Westerners, some Russians, some Chinese. But if a major war breaks out, who's going to want to live right here? The answer is no one. UAE is the most incentivized country to try to prevent a war in the Middle East. Tablet says Israel has the best intelligence service. How do you compete with that? Who cares? Yeah, you have great intelligence. I mean, so what, right? Um, do you know how many um, homeless people there are with an IQ of 150? Like, intelligence only goes so far. Intelligence is only as good as what you do with it, right? It's a very fine line between genius and crazy. Also, where does Israel get the money to have like intelligence is also a product of money, right? If Israel starts getting bombed to shit and Israel has no economy, where's the money going to come from to pay these intelligent agents? How visible will Russia and China military support be for Iran? China, very invisible. Russia will make it known that they're supporting Iran. Yeah, good point. Intelligence that missed October 7th. I say it's 50% missed and 50% allowed it to happen. Kind of like the Trump assassination, right? 50% incompetence, 50% inside job. It's always a combination of both. All right, guys. This was my follow-up on the Middle East. Oh, so let's just color it real quick. I'm going to color it in light yellow. I believe that Saudi doesn't want to be, Saudi don't want Iran to become the leader of the Muslim world. So in order for them to retain that status, they will need to join forces with Iran. And whatever Saudi does, UAE will do, and Qatar. Whoa, can't seem to color it. And Kuwait. And then Egypt will follow, and Jordan will have no choice. Eventually, they will follow as well. Syria and Iraq are kind of dysfunctional. And what do you think Turkey does? Turkey is not going to stand by either. If there's a big war breaking out, Israel is going to join forces and they will leave NATO. Israel is in serious trouble. Serious trouble. And they don't even see it. They don't see it. But hey, that's what that we can talk about their education system all day long. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. Oh no, wait, one more thing. Totally forgot to, got another watch, courtesy of Coin Vigilante, not to be confused with the Dollar Vigilante, which is the scam of Jeff Berwick. Coin Vigilante is a company that makes watches as well. This is a cool orange one. You can also see the Bitcoin logo on the second hand. Nice orange band. There's a discount, Tone. Tone is a discount that will save you some money. There's another watch company that will be out with a watch soon. But for the meantime, check this bad boy out and use discount code TONE for, I believe, to save 10%. And we're going to open one more pack. I'm still on the hunt for the rare 1 of 21 poker card. Let's see. Maybe this is the lucky pack. Or get a Tone Vays card, maybe. Let's see what we got. This is the Bitcoin versus crypto card. We have a resources card. We have an economics card. Monetary history card. And that's the dollar. Natalie Brunell again. 2 Natalie Brunell cards in a row. Man, I'm not going to be back here for weeks. So tempted to open another pack, but I'm going to hold off on that. If there's anything else I'm going to pimp and promote, it is, of course, Bear Woods. There is a link in the video description. This is their new bourbon. This is Batch B bourbon, an upgrade from their Batch A bourbon. You see that I opened this bottle on July 13th. I poured some of it into a glass container, and you can already see the color difference. I'm gonna try to do it this way, over my black, no, maybe not over my black shirt, over a white background. Look at that. You see that color difference? That's the aging. Check out the link in the video description. This is the patented system to age your spirits inside the bottle itself. Such an awesome brand. Check that out. The link is in the video description. Soon there'll be storefronts, and these bottles will be hopefully available in your liquor shop. We will have another, 21 bottles of this, of tequila, Vays tequila, at the Unconfiscatable event and poker tournament. Join us for Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas, September 16th. Carnivory dinner is September 16th. All right, thank you very much, guys. On the next stream, we can talk about South Pacific, or we can talk about Venezuela or other geopolitical developments in Latin America. I do live in Latin America, so I do have a lot of stuff to say about that. We're going to come back to Russia, Ukraine. The Trump assassination, of course, is another topic, and the disaster that was the Democrat National Convention. I was watching it. I had to stop. I was going to break my laptop. The stupidity of that last night had no bounds. Thank you all for watching, guys, and see you all on the next one. Bitcoin's rallying a bit. We're at 59.4. Nice.